Hello, investors, and welcome back. Let's talk about these CPI numbers, and I want to share some global figures with you. I also want to talk about SpaceX. Huge update from Elon this evening. Very exciting. I'm definitely going to be a part of that call. I'm going to listen in to that live stream. We've also got the Astra launch, which is happening before that. There was also a major event that happened yesterday. Don't forget about the Super Bowl coming up, and some of those ads are starting to be announced. GGPI was announced for Polestar doing an ad during the Super Bowl, and this is also supposed to be known as the crypto Super Bowl. So crypto did a big dip this morning, and it came up aggressively. So what is happening in the market? Let's get straight into it. Prices climbed to 7.5% in January, the fastest inflation since 1982. You can see the percentage here. This was the expectation, 7.2 or 7.3. But what has me a little bit concerned is that economists' expectations are off target, and they forecast and anticipate that this will come down meaningfully in 2022. And I'm just not sure how that's possible with the Fed not taking any action. So we really need to see something take place in March during that next meeting, and we'll go through that in just a moment. I want to take a look at the global market because CPI, just really putting it into perspective, it's helpful to be able to see the rest of the global economy and where they stand as far as inflation. So you could see these numbers are inflated with the exception of, I would say, Indonesia, China, Switzerland, Saudi Arabia, and Japan. So moving forward, it will be beneficial for the Fed to take some kind of action, but they might sit on their hands and not take any action at all. Now, March 15th to March 16th, there will be volatility almost guaranteed leading up to this date or the day of. So 15th and the 16th, you can expect some volatility. Markets could be green leading up to the 14th, but I would say on March 14th, mark your calendars to pay attention to what's happening at a macro level at that date and time. So consumer debts from last year totals 15.6 trillion in 2021. This is the narrative that you really want to pay attention to because we have a very strong economy. We have businesses that are reporting strong earnings. There's real numbers. What we don't need is we don't need conflict in Eastern Europe. We need people to come back to the workforce, and we need to clear up the global supply chain issues. So there is this reopening play that could still take shape, and if that happens, then that could be very good as a reopening play for the economy in general. Now, the Federal Reserve expects it will soon be appropriate to raise the target range for the federal funds rate as inflation is well above 2% and the labor market is strong. So you also want to pay attention to those labor market numbers that are coming out and watch those trends. Now, the reduction of the 8.9 trillion balance sheet will start after interest rate hikes, and the central bank intends to reduce its security holdings over time. Now, without reading this to you, because I know you can read it yourself, they have the tools to take action. That's pretty much what this says, but they just need to do it. So we don't want to see the Fed further kick this can down the road. If we look at the heat map, you can see banks, basic materials, and energy are doing really well as overall sectors, and obviously entertainment, Disney is standing out. So if we take a look at the major indices, you can see they were all red this morning, and they're starting to recover with the exception of the 2,000 small caps and the Russell 2000. And then even Bitcoin pre-market took a major dip to 43,000, and it's recovered to about 45, and you could see that starting to meet a little bit of resistance. This was up about 1,300 points. So I wanted to give you my thoughts on this article of the solar storm that destroys 40 new SpaceX satellites in orbit, because as an Astra investor, you just want to be aware of any additional risk. And Astra plans on launching their own satellite constellations, and you just want to be aware of if this is common to happen. Are there several of these geomagnetic incidents? And this wasn't even the worst one, but 40 of the last 49 satellites that were sent up, transmitters are drifting back to the Earth's atmosphere where they will burn up, potentially costing this company about $100 million. So just be aware of that risk. Now, speaking of SpaceX, today at 9 p.m., they started stacking its giant Starship ahead, and Elon has been posting this on his page. But tonight, that is going to be something very exciting to watch. Be sure to sign in and check that out. Now, Astra is scheduled to launch with good weather conditions today at 3 p.m. So let's take a look at FinViz just to see how the markets are performing as far as aerospace and defense, and what type of gains are we seeing across the board. Now, we're seeing anywhere between 4 and 2% on the top gainers, and I would say, the outlier is going to be Virgin Orbit Holdings, but that's not going to be a standard gain. So obviously we have an event today, but you can see a 5% gain today is going to be pretty decent, and I would say on the upside, and that's just generally looking and saying, okay, what can I correlate? Let's start off with the 30-minute chart. You can see since the last time we spoke about this, there has been gained momentum and people coming in thinking this might be one of the last opportunities to get Astra in the $4 range. It has been picking up momentum, and you can see that by the sell-off that happened this morning pre-market with the CPI numbers coming out. This went down to $5.14, gained support, and then it's been going sideways. It's met resistance. Here, I put a line in at $5.50. Now, last time we talked, I had a resistance line from previous levels up here at $5.60. Now, I think it could go past that, and that's why I've put 2 additional lines in here for 10% and 20%, because this most likely should be a successful launch. I'm just taking a guess. Of course, we don't know until it happens. So if that happens, will it meet a 10%? I don't know. You'll have to watch the charts, the candle action, but this just gives you some type of basis. Now, does it get delayed? This is counting on if it continues to go through. I see this going sideways until about an hour before, or the next 30 minutes, and then start to pick up about an hour, 30 minutes before launch like it did last time. I think it could repeat the same thing that happened last time without that massive sell-off. Now, there will be a sell the news type of successful launch. After it spikes up, people will take their profits. But if you go into the 5-minute chart, you can see it's just been consolidating. It did try to drop here briefly before it gained support and continue to consolidate. Now, as it pushes past this RSI level, that's going to be your indicator. That's going to draw your line. Once this presses up, it's going to consolidate. Once it presses up, meets resistance, it's going to come back down, and then probably attempt to press back up again. There should be some obvious resistance. That's going to be your signal that that's it for the day, and then it should settle down. I don't see this getting crazy. So those are my thoughts. I hope this video helped you. If it did, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.